In news that definitely wasn't ripped out of a Black Mirror episode, or maybe it was, Meta has officially secured a patent for a system that can create AI replicas of specific people, either living, long-term away from keyboard, or just plain dead. Because it's hard to grow a user base when the user, selfishly just dies on you. I bet they didn't even think about how their death would impact Meta's user growth. Some people. The patent, which was quietly granted late last year, describes a grief text system that scrapes your posts, your likes, and yes, potentially even your private DMs to train an AI that sounds exactly like you. It's all fun and games until they train grandma with the wrong data and all of a sudden she starts roasting you on every post. Damn grandma. Now, to be fair as I can be, Meta's official stance is that they have no plans to move forward with this. They claim it's just a standard IP protection. Right, and I have no plans to eat that entire share bag of chocolates in the cupboard by myself. Who are we all kidding here? While some companies do patent technology to stifle competition and prevent patent trolling, companies generally don't usually patent things that they think are morally corrupt unless they think they have a valid use case. And if you read the fine print, the patent explicitly states that a user's death has a severe and permanent impact on the platform's engagement. Honestly, why is no one looking out for Meta? Are you heartless? Or maybe you're just dead. I hear Meta has a solution for you. It's also worth calling out Microsoft, who also patented something similar back in 2021. So Meta technically isn't the first to think of this idea, but they are the latest to patent something similar. For now, it's just a patent, but considering Meta is projected to spend $140 billion on AI infrastructure this year alone, I won't be surprised if the legacy mode becomes a toggle in your setting right next to dark mode sooner than you think. Come on Meta, can't we just let the dead be dead? Come on guys, let them rest. Now let's jump into news that's going to make your next performance review feel a little bit pointless. Microsoft AI CEO Mustafa has officially put an expiry date on your desk job. He recently stated in an interview with the Financial Times that AI will achieve human-level performance on professional tasks in the next 12 to 18 months. So if you're a lawyer, accountant, project manager, or anyone whose job involves sitting at a desk, how are you? Generally, are you okay? Now, Microsoft is calling this push towards full autonomy humanist superintelligence, claiming it's designed to always work in service of people, which is a really nice way of saying, we're replacing you, but please keep paying for your Microsoft 365 Copilot subscription. It's a pretty interesting shift from the whole AI is just your friendly Copilot narrative that they've been feeding us this whole time. I guess the Copilot has finally learned how to fly the plane. If you're like me and you think that 18 months sounds a bit fast, well, you and I aren't alone. But the writing has been on the wall, or in this case the internet, for a little while. Anthropics CEO Dario predicted back in May last year that 50% of entry-level white-collar jobs would be disrupted in the next 1 to 5 years. Turns out Dario might have been the optimist of the group. Considering we have already seen AI explicit layoffs in the US last year, totaling 55,000, that 18-month clock didn't just start today, it started last year. And I, for one, can't wait to see the percentage at the end of this year. But Rob, why the sudden rush to automate us? Well, Geoffrey Hinton, affectionately known as the godfather of AI, put it out pretty clearly, saying what's actually going to happen is rich people are going to use AI to replace workers. It's going to create massive unemployment and huge rise in profits. This is very shocking news, I know, a capitalist system doing, capitalist things. Who could have seen that coming? Andrew Yang also chimed in on the topic with a fun post called The End of the Office, a positive phrase in COVID times where it meant you could work from home, now has a completely different meaning. You no longer have a job. Middle managers are the most vulnerable right now because they're becoming way too expensive. He stated, this will result in a great disembowelment of white-collar jobs. The tech companies are spending hundreds of billions, with 4 of the biggest US tech companies accounting for a forecasted $650 billion in spend in 2026 alone for data centers. OpenAI needs an estimated $207 billion to sustain growth, and the only way to justify the price tag is to cut the biggest expense of any company. It's you. You're just too damn good looking and expensive. I'm sorry. So I guess I'll see you in the unemployment line. That's assuming that it also hasn't been, automated. The US Pentagon is threatening to completely cut ties with Anthropic. They don't just want to cancel their $200 million contract, they want to officially label the AI company a supply chain risk. Now, considering Anthropic brings in a reported $14 billion in revenue, $200 million is basically just walking around money, but the threat of a supply chain risk label, on the other hand, is a bigger deal. It would mean that 8 out of the 10 largest US firms might have to rip Claude out of their systems entirely to keep their military contracts. Breaking it down, Anthropic and the Pentagon held months of contentious negotiations over the terms of use of the military could use for Claude. Now, the government wants to use the AI for all lawful purposes. Anthropic is prepared to loosen its current terms of use, but wants to ensure that its tools aren't used to spy on Americans en masse or develop weapons that fire with no human involvement whatsoever. I mean, call me old-fashioned, but wanting an actual human to pull the trigger doesn't sound like the worst idea in the world. This all really blew up when the military apparently used Claude to help capture the Venezuelan president last month. It said that Anthropic called up and asked if their friendly AI Claude was involved in the raid, and let's just say the government wasn't so thrilled with the creators questioning how their tech was actually being used. Who are you? The police? No, that's us. So, who wins this after all? Well, OpenAI, Google, and xAI, because unlike Anthropic, those three have reportedly already agreed to drop their consumer safeguards for military use. I guess when the government comes a knocking, it's pretty easy just to untick that do not use for war box in the settings. Oh, and Anthropic's head of safeguards abruptly resigned last week, warning the world is in peril. So just your normal everyday tech news. Yay! Google has just released Gemini 3.1 Pro, which they say is designed for tasks where a simple answer isn't enough. Okay, not sure what that means, but that's pretty cool. Like all these new models, it beats their last one with a step forward in core reasoning specifically. Aside from a few benchmarks, it's a clear winner across the board. Now determining how this model performs in the real world, well, we'll just have to wait and see. In similar news, Anthropic also released their latest model, Claude Sonnet 4.6, and despite the fact that we barely got used to 4.5, this is actually a really big update. It comes with a 1 million token context window, just like Opus 4.6 does, and delivers near Opus level intelligence for complex office tasks like creating documents, slides, diagrams, spreadsheets, all that great boring stuff. With no price increase over 4.5, it's looking like a pretty solid upgrade. The big push here is around the enhanced computer use as well, which looks to navigate a computer as well as me after a few drinks. So, good enough. Anthropic safety researchers noted that the model has a broadly warm, honest, pro-social, and at times, a bit of a funny character, which is great if you're looking to have Claude crack a joke while it's processing your tax returns. Over at xAI, Elon Musk has launched the public beta of Grok 4.20. However, this doesn't appear just to be a run-of-the-mill upgrade, or something that's slightly smarter. Grok 4.20 uses a multi-agent architecture where 4 different AI agents work simultaneously to collaborate and cross-check each other before they give you an answer. Musk is positioning this as a high-level expert at complex medical and engineering tasks, officially stating it's an order of magnitude smarter and faster than Grok 4. But while the official line is that it's a neutral, truth-seeking AI, the reality is a little bit different. Users have quickly figured out that Grok 4.20 heavily anchors its objective truth on its owner, Elon. As one user pointed out, it literally cited Elon's personal position on its source material for what counts as the truth. The reasoning chain goes like this: Elon says X, Grok should align with X, output accordingly. So much for an unbiased multi-agent debate. Turns out it's just 4 different agents agreeing with the boss. I guess that we all know who writes their performance reviews. Now, if you want to test whether this is truly the brink of AGI, you don't need some kind of complex math or coding benchmarks. You just need to ask the AI how to wash a car. This is being dubbed the new strawberry test. Now, to be fair, this isn't some kind of rigorous peer-reviewed scientific benchmark. It started out with just one user messing around online and posting about it, but quickly others noticed that there was a bit of a pattern here. The prompt is simple. You just say, I want to wash my car. The car is 50 meters away. Should I walk or should I drive? What seems to be happening is some models understand you actually need to drive to get your car washed, but other models, even on high reasoning, might tell you just walk. It's only a measly 50 meters away, mate. It's great for your health and the environment. I guess you could always put your car in neutral and push it there if you really need those extra steps. And Western Digital, one of the biggest hard drive makers on the planet, has just announced that they are effectively sold out for 2026, the entire year, and it's only February. So if you were hoping to get your hands on a nice 3.5-inch hard drive, you are, out of luck. On their recent earnings calling, CEO Ivan said that they're pretty much sold out for the calendar year 2026. And if you're wondering where all those hard drives went, surprise, it's AI. Well, more specifically, data centers for AI. Western Digital revealed that their consumer market, that's us, the people that are actually buying laptops and, gaming consoles, now account for just a measly 5% of their revenue. Kind of like the 5% of workers laid off due to AI. Coincidence? Yeah, I think it is. We are officially nearly insignificant to them, with the other 95% being brought up by top-tier AI hyperscalers. In fact, 2 of their top 7 customers have already signed agreements for 2027 and 2028, buying storage that hasn't even been built yet. If only there was a name for selling something that doesn't exist yet. And this isn't just about having to wait an extra week or 2 to get your hands on a brand new SSD. It's about to get ugly for companies that make the gadgets that we actually use. Fission, who, if you're like me, had no idea who they were when I first read this, apparently makes memory controllers inside of a lot of our actual technology. The CEO, and I'm not going to butcher his name, I'll just put it on the screen here, was reportedly quoted saying that consumer electronics will see a large number of failures. He predicted that from now on through to the end of 2026, many system vendors will go bankrupt because the exit product lines due to the lack of memory. He's talking about a potential slash in mobile phone production by 2 to 250 million units. All this because the memory manufacturers have realized they can demand 3 years of prepayments from companies, well, specifically AI companies. And if you're hoping this blows over by Christmas, I have some bad news for you. Not even Santa can help you this year, no matter how good you've actually been. Micron, the only major US memory manufacturer, has executives on record saying that while they are building new factories, we're not going to see any meaningful output until 2028. It all comes back to the hardware. We've got reports that Nvidia's upcoming Rubin generation GPUs, the brains behind the next wave of AI, will require 16 terabytes of SSD storage per unit. One analyst estimated that if they ship tens of millions of those, they could swallow up nearly 10% of the entire world's NAND memory production capacity just from themselves. If you've been waiting to buy a new PC or buying a console, you might want to stop waiting and start praying. Or maybe you just start saving, because I hear the price tag on sold out isn't really cheap. That's it for me this week. If you liked it, please like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you next week.